quotation or give us a call at 646-2144. Open every day, Sunday to Sunday from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Midland.
Limiting chronic inflammation is important for so many conditions that occur.
I had a lot of pain 4 years ago.
I used to have pain in my knees and my hip.
Taking it for arthritis.
Omega XL saved my life.
Then I started to realize, but hey, I could use my hands, I don't have any pain.
All in all, I am pleased to say that the Omega XL has worked.
And we are back. Thank you so much, Master Control. And okay, let's take a short break again. We're just getting some.
Limiting chronic inflammation is important for so many conditions that occur.
I had a lot of pain 4 years ago.
I used to have pain in my knees and my hip.
Taking it for arthritis.
Omega XL saved my life.
Then I started to realize, but hey, I could use my hands, I don't have any pain.
All in all, I am pleased to say that the Omega XL has worked.
All right, and we are back. Thank you so much, Master Control, for fixing that. Joining us is Corporal Deidre Charles, analytics professional from the fraud squad of the TTPS. And Corporal Charles has been a police officer for over 20 years and attached to the fraud squad for the last 10 years. And her main areas of expertise are online fraud and investment fraud. A pleasant good evening to you, Corporal.
A pleasant good evening to you, Mr. Kerr, Mighty Kerr, and to the general public, trying to be good night. Indeed, it's my pleasure to be here to share information with you on online and investment fraud.
Yes. Online fraud, tell us. I mean, I know it refers to fraudulent activities such as identity theft and financial fraud that are committed by using the internet. And what are some of the things that we are seeing here in Trinidad that is popping up?
Okay, so in Trinidad, we are seeing, I will start with investment fraud because there are different number of frauds that is taking place, but even though I know we said online and investment fraud is usually perpetrated online, right? So what we have is persons advertising investment opportunities into cryptocurrency, which is trending now, Bitcoins, and just general investment opportunities whereby persons can invest a small amount of money for a large return. Usually, the time frame is unrealistic. For example, you can invest $3,000 and get a return of $100,000. So you will invest your $3,000 today by making a payment or deposit into a local bank account and with an expected return of $100,000 by Saturday morning, 10 a.m. In these cases, this type of fraud in particular is a nameless and a faceless fraud. What we have is that once the person, the victim or the customer reaches out to the Facebook page, they are directed to a social media platform. Most times it's either in Telegram or WhatsApp, and the person they begin to communicate with the fraudster. The fraudster would assure them that, listen, this is secure, you will get the money, I can guarantee you, we are accustomed doing this type of business, and a lot of persons have benefited. But first, they need to make a payment. They would make the first payment of $3,000, and another payment will be requested to withdraw the money, that security payment or payment for customs, etc. And before you even know it, you find persons who initially intended to invest $3,000 to get a return of $100,000 would have invested $150,000 because the amount of return keeps increasing, and they invested within a short space of time because the fraudsters convinced them, but they never see a return on the investment.
And let me ask you that in the psyche of these people who are committing this type of crime, what do they look for as far as the perfect target, the perfect victim?
Well, Well, in our case, you find that victims are ranging from young adults to even older persons. I think that there is a need I guess, in society, and people try to get income as fast as possible. Not really, the old saying, if it's too good to be true, maybe it's not. And they don't do due diligence. So once you respond, automatically the fraudster gets to work convincing you that his service or his financial offering is legitimate. And they would send you photo images on Telegram or WhatsApp of persons who benefited and how much money you can get in return. And they just keep making promises. So once they get you to make that first payment, and they would increase the return, enticing the victims more to continue investing. So they seek opportunity, and that's basically it.
So are you saying basically that you can be strung along? It's not just sometimes a one-time hit, but you can actually have people who are strung along for a period of time, taken to the distance where basically savings, everything is depleted?
Correct. So we would add to the investment fraud another type of fraud that you would see online, which would be lottery winnings, and it is very similar in nature, whereby persons may be contacted by someone on WhatsApp or Facebook saying you have won the lottery, $500,000 US. And in order for you to claim this winnings, you need to make a payment of $5,000 TT dollars, or $500 TT dollars. And then when you make the first initial payment, you find out what happens, and they will tell you, we had a problem. I forgot to tell you about the interest. I forgot to tell you about the taxes. I forgot to mention, and persons will just keep buying or depositing money, more money and more money. And the fraud starts because what we understand is that with respect to online fraud in particular, the fraudsters operate in a gang. So they don't, you may have initially, the person may have initially introduced himself as Jack Daniel, but when you go to deposit the money, you have to deposit the money into Jason Smith account. And then the second deposit would go into Jason King account, and the third, so they're different accounts. And that should be a red flag for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, that once you are depositing money into personal accounts for a business transaction, whereby you invest in large sums of money, more than likely it is fraud that is taking place.
And let me ask you, Corporal Charles, how much of a challenge is it to get to these fraudsters who are committing these crimes?
So it is indeed a big challenge because, as I said earlier, it is a nameless and a faceless type of crime. The most victims, they are unable to identify the fraudster. They could only tell you that they spoke to this person and they deposited money into this account, but they never see the fraudster because the conversations don't necessarily move beyond Telegram. And the fraudsters use Telegram because it's difficult to track. So we at the Fraud Squad, we have been working with our partners, our stakeholders, in order to investigate these type of reports. It is a bit painstaking. I know most persons would call and say, "Officer, I just want to get back my money, please." But as you know, it's the job of the police is not necessarily to assist persons in obtaining a refund of their money, but we investigate the reports, and where it is possible and we have sufficient evidence, we put people before the court, and the court decides.
Yeah, exactly. And the chances of getting back your money or however it's
slim to none.
Slim to none.
Yes, slim to none.
And give us an average, I mean, on a monthly basis. I mean, have you seen an uptick in a lot of these crimes taking place? Is it the backdrop of the economy that is causing this uptick? Or is it that people are just simply engineered and geared towards, greed, as the case may be?
I will say, unfortunately, all of the above. I mean, we have no control over the economy, but what I will say is that persons have, a responsibility to do due diligence. If you are investing your money, you would want to go to a business place, a reputable one that is licensed to operate, to receive investment or to invest your money on your behalf. You would receive documents. Most persons in these cases don't receive documents. They just see an ad on social media. They respond to the ad. Somebody sends them a message. They communicate with the person via text messaging, and they send their money to an account with the hope of getting a return on the investment, with no real hope, rather.
Yeah, and let me ask you, I mean, is it that your department in Florida, do you have to police these different platforms? With so many different platforms out there and all this information coming at individuals at once. And then, of course, you always have this supporting video where people are showing where they're living such a great life. They're jet setting here. They're eating in some of the most expensive restaurants. You know, how do you have to deal with that situation? Is it challenging that you have to actually be policing the internet?
It is indeed challenging, and as a result, we try to work as far as possible with our cybercrime unit, who they are more effective in searching the social media platforms, looking at the possible fraudsters, what they may be posting, you know, making the different reports, etc., to the other international organizations, etc. For us, in the fraud squad, because personally, at the fraud squad, it's difficult for us to police the social media because we're not sure when and where a page, an ad may pop up.
Yeah. Yeah, so and of course somebody responds to that. What are some of the measures that citizens can take so they don't fall victim to what's taking place?
Okay, so for example, I would say let's look at an advertisement online for loan fraud, right? Sometimes you see a reputable bank, a known bank or known financial institution may be advertising, or the image or their logo may be used to advertise a loan online. Obviously, they would give these persons would advertise low investment, and you would want to communicate with this bank. But if the bank, let's say the bank name is the White Bank, and you attempt to communicate with the White Bank, and they tell you to communicate to the White Bank at gmail.com or at yahoo.com, that should send up a red flag to you, because it's not the bank's name. Most banks would be at thewhitebank.com as opposed to the whitebank@gmail.com. So little things like that. If it is, you could even call the bank and say, listen, I saw you advertising a loan. Because generally, when you go to the bank and you provide your information, you know that you may not get through. But when you're seeing something that is too good, you tell yourself, hey, let me jump at this opportunity. But too good should be a red flag in today's society.
Yeah, and as far as those also investment groups, I know that so many of them taking place at one time it was peaking, but now you seem to still have them in the shadows of what have you. The thing about it, I think that most people get caught with, is that there are some success stories. Is it that that's the way the fraudsters run it? There are few people will be successful in order to lure in the majority?
Can I give you an example? Sure. One example is a victim was asked to post a video or respond to this in a positive light, saying that you were successful, and then we will send you the money. So I do not know any successful persons or customers or persons who would have received from these fraudsters. I can't identify one instance.
Yeah. And as far as the percentage of these crimes being committed, do you believe that there are some cases where people are just too embarrassed, too ashamed to even report it to the police?
Indeed, there would be cases like that, and there are other cases where persons would report it to the police and said, officer, I don't want no police action. I already lost my money. I just want you to be aware of this page or of this person. Most obviously, the person's name more than likely is fake.
Yeah. And have you had situations where fraudsters would set up one page and when things go sour, they just simply pop up somewhere else?
Yes, if the page becomes inactive and then there's another page. But at times we may not be able to identify or link the pages.
Yeah. And I'm sure that this information that you always share is that if it's too good to be true, it is.
It's exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. If we just need persons to take due diligence, if you think you want to make an investment, talk to someone. I know a lot today, most persons want their information or their business to remain private. But if you are not, especially for our older folks, if you're not social media savvy or investment savvy, you could even call an reputable investment company, ask them what is their take on this. And they too may be able to tell you, listen, that doesn't sound legitimate. If you have a relative who, may be working in a financial institution who may be able to advise you accordingly, talk to someone. And like at the first squad, we cannot tell persons this site may be genuine or not genuine. However, we could tell persons, do your due diligence.
Yeah. And of course, there have been many of these things set up abroad, and they have been able to infiltrate here on our local market.
On our local markets. And that's a good point that you raise here. It's good that you raise the abroad topic, because once you see an international number, that in itself is a red flag.
Yeah.
Somebody sent you, we had a romance fraud situation, and that has drastically reduced, where persons will be friended online and then promised to receive a package and was asked to send money to receive this package, and the packages never came. The packages normally contain gold and fine jewelry and US cash or other currencies that was supposed to be sent to the intended recipient as a gift. But that never happens.
No.
Go
ahead. Go ahead.
And I wanted to just take the opportunity as well to mention, with respect to another type of online fraud, we have now the chip cards, and we and different type of ABM and credit cards where persons' information is on the card, and you can conduct online transactions with the use of these cards. For our older folks especially, I want to advise, and even the members of the general public, if you are not internet savvy or may not be able to conduct online banking transactions, go to your bank and ask them to assist you in setting up text messages. Okay. So that every time a transaction occurs on your account, you will receive an automatic notification. So if something is suspicious, there's some suspicious activity, you will be able to contact your bank, tell them, listen, I didn't conduct this transaction, and contact your bank immediately and have them put a block on your card.
Right. And of course, we know at one point in time, romance scams was big, but I believe that in itself has died down a bit.
Yeah, that has died down drastically, but then we had the rise of the investment fraud.
Yeah, so one has to be careful out there. If it's too good to be true,
if it is too good to be true,
then it certainly is. And regardless of what people are telling you and making reference to that they're successful and all those videos, because people get so caught up into that lifestyle with too information coming at you on these platforms where you're seeing people living big and flying here and flying there. But again, that is all based on optics, and it is not real. So
it is not real, correct.
You have to be careful. Closing comments, if you had to tell the people of Trinidad and Tobago what to look out for and how to be cautious out there, go right ahead.
Okay, so look out for persons just randomly contacting you, asking you for information, seeing that they are calling on behalf from a bank or from a financial institution. Verify, contact the financial institution, not with the number that contacted you, but with a number that is, let's say, when you go on Google and you could get the number for that specific institution and call them and verify, did you contact me? Do not give out your personal information. Some persons give out their bank account information. They give out the PIN to access or the password to access their bank accounts online. Don't give out any of your private details, your ID card number, your driver's permit number. More than likely, if you won a lottery, first of all, to win a lottery, you have to have a ticket. So you cannot just randomly win a lottery from an international company. So do not respond to those people. Block them. Block these WhatsApp persons who may be trying to contact you via WhatsApp, via Telegram. Let them know that it's I heard from the police that more than likely this is fraud. So if it is you have to collect a package or collect money or collect winnings and you have to pay to do so, fraud. Just think fraud. You want to apply for a loan, you have not been to an office, you want to apply online in Italy, you have to pay money to secure the loan. Think the possibilities fraud. Visit the office, ask a question. Visit the financial institutions if you see they have an ad. Verify. Show the photo to someone. Ask somebody else to help you make checks.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ms. Charles. That has been very insightful. Thank you so much for that advice.
You are welcome, sir.
Keep up the good work. It's a pleasure having you on. Keep up the good work and best of luck to you and your entire team. And I know you're on the job. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Sam. Good night to the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks, don't forget Vitamin XL D3 provides the most natural and absorbable form of vitamin D, which promotes whole body health, which is crucial for cellular health, especially regarding the cells of the immune system. Every cell in your body needs vitamin D3 to function properly, so pick up your bottle of Vitamin XL D3 today. That brings us to the end of our program. As always, remember, we are observing, but action is right around the corner. We're going to keep bringing you all the information that you need right here on The Observer. I know sometimes it's with a heavy heart and it makes you wonder and leave you scratching your head as, where are we living? Is this real? Is this really taking place? Yes, it is. And we have to understand and be conscious of these things around us, because we are the change that we're looking for, as you know that. So, folks, until next week, Tuesday, and those of you trying to get in touch with me, you can hit me up via WhatsApp, 494-0938. That number, 494-0938. Good folks in Grenada, I got your message. A pleasant good evening to you, Grenada, yes. And, of course, the medals that Grenada won in the Olympics, and all the good folks across the region. And wanting to advertise on The Observer, reach out to me, 494-0938. Yes, we're observing, but action is right around the corner. Have a good evening.